a Pete Primeau fan.
Thank you for having me.
Your fans are like...
What an honor to be here, Pete. You're a legend. You're a rock star.
I'm a legend in my own mind, said my wife.
If I can do it, anybody can do it.
I'm Mr. Selling from the Heart. What's this guy, Larry Levine, going to teach me about selling from the heart?
You are one of the most generous and authentic people around, and I think that's why you and your show are so attractive to people.
Welcome to the Pete Primeau Show. Sorry you're getting a little bit of a late start. It is episode 232, and the one tool every store owner needs to use better with my friend Kristina Espinoza, award-winning account executive with King Koil. Before we get to her, we are going to pay the bills. If you haven't bought my book, Sell a Million, what are you waiting for? It's not a sales book, though. It's a great marketing book. As a matter of fact, my favorite review on it is from my good friend, Doug Stewart. And he says, take the word mattress and furniture out of it. It's just a great marketing book. So if you need marketing, that book. If you need sales, this is the book. Miles and Miles of Retail Selling Greatness. It's not just my book. It's Chris Tahaney's book. It's Jeff Janakovo's book. It's Brent Batterman's book. It's Justin Trumbo's book. It's Mark Klingenberg's book. It's Randy Thompson's book. Mel Opp's book. It's Keith Castinguy's book. It is Scott Vaughn's book and Steve Karn's book. All of those fine gentlemen contributed to this book. So it's not just my book, but this book will help you sell more immediately. As a matter of fact, after the first chapter, you will be selling more. And the chapters are super small. So 1 to 3 minutes per chapter, and away you go. Also, if you're a store owner or a sales manager and you have to do a weekly meeting, you've got about 3 years worth of meetings there. So take each chapter, divide it in half, and then use those QR codes separately. And you have more than enough for 3 years worth of sales meetings. So whoa, Chris, you saved me. I want to thank my friends at the Mattress Industry Network group, Greg and Steve. If you want to learn how to build, market, sell, and succeed in the mattress industry, join this free group. Over 24, probably 2,500 strong. It's a great group with all kinds of people in here. If you want to network, it's a great group for networking. If you want to learn more about the business, it's a great way to learn more about the business. Hit the QR code right there and say hi to me when you get in. I try to get in a couple times a week whenever I can. And if you are going to be anywhere near Nashville, or if you can fly a plane to Nashville at the end of September 28th, 29th, and 30th, join us for the masterclass. And the only reason the best producer in the whole world is not pulling it up is because we haven't been given the graphic yet. But I want everybody, if you're a store owner and you want to sell more, you've got to go to Scott Vaughn's masterclass. It can change your life. And I will be there as always. Here's the coolest thing about this one. You fly into Nashville. You don't need an Uber. You don't need a Lyft. You just walk right into the hotel, and there we are. So join us for the masterclass. There it is, September 28th and 30th. Listen, it is It is a great, great investment for all store owners. I've got some store owners that have sent all their people after they've gone. So if you've gone before and you want your people to go, the ones who have to implement all this stuff, send them. So without further ado, Kristina, welcome.
Hey, Pete. Thanks so much for having me.
And Chris, can you just pull up that picture that we have with David Binky, the president of King Koil, given the award to Kristina. So there it is.
Oh, thank you.
Congratulations. We have an award-winning rep on our show, and that is compliments of none other. You want to take a guess?
Mr. Tahaney.
Of course. Who else?
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, buddy.
So, what is the one tool that every store owner needs to use better? This started off as a Facebook private message. It's a miracle that I even saw it because I don't get it on my phone. I can only get it on my laptop. I mean, not my laptop, my desktop, and I'm really on that. So this was like a little conversation that me and Kristina had, and I said, "Why don't you come on the show and let's talk about it?" And
I was like, "Me?"
He went silent. Everybody, completely silent. She went dark for 2 or 3 days. I didn't know what was going on. This after a year or two long pursuit of trying to get her on the show. So, thank you for saying yes.
I'm here. Thank you for having me. All the nerves are settling. I'm
good. You're among friends.
Yes.
Where's McDonald anyway? Is he in here? Timmy? Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Let's roll. I love Tim.
Awesome.
Chris, thanks for being here. Tim, thanks for being here. I'm sure we're going to have some other people. And here's a funny little thing that happens with these things. There's a lot of other people there. They're just too shy to even say hi. So,
I got lots of text messages this morning of folks saying they were logging on and friends supporting. So to all of you, love you guys for being here. And this industry is, man, it's phenomenal. And it's so amazing to have the love and support that we do for one another. So I'm so proud to be a part of this industry and feel very blessed every single day to do something that I love. I wake up and it's not, I've got to go to work, or it's exciting and fun. So I'm very blessed.
We are blessed to be in this industry. This industry, I've said it 1,000 times. I hope I say it 1,000 more times. This industry has a big heart. Just does.
Yes.
I hope all industries do. Got a feeling that's not true in all industries. Our industry in particular has a big heart, and we help people and we support each other. And that's super important. And there's a few yahoos out there that don't, but you know what? They don't even matter. It's like, the people that matter are the ones that support us. And that's most of our industry. They're super, super good. So what did you mean? The one tool every store owner needs to use better.
Yes.
So that implies that some don't use it at all. Some use it a little, but they could use it a lot better.
Yes.
And are you going to show me like a massive Swiss Army knife? Is that?
No,
it's not.
No. Well, kind of. I guess it could be a Swiss Army knife. No, no, it is so simple, and it's in front of your faces, hopefully quite a bit. But it's your rep. It's your rep. So what I have noticed since coming on to the manufacturer side is that not a lot of our retailers are utilizing their reps in the best possible way. And so I wanted to come on, or not necessarily come on, but I wanted this to be a topic that we all talk about, because the game is changing, and keeping up with the industry and what's going on with the industry is so difficult for retailers. So we definitely see some retailers. That struggle keeping up with the pulse of what's going on in the industry. And one of the correlations that I've noticed with some of that is they're not utilizing their reps in the best possible way that they can.
So let's unpack that a little bit. I was so excited. Alex, you are compromised, my friend, but absolutely, what a rock star. Couldn't be more proud. Absolutely. I feel the same exact way. Jeff Giannakovo, not shy, happy to support. And I'll say this for Pete, help the man out, like, comment, and share. He pours into this industry at a cost to himself. A comment, like, and share costs you nothing and returns to generosity. Pete shares. Wow. What are you trying to make me cry, Giannakovo? What's up? Thank you, Jeff. You are too kind, buddy. And so, listen, I'm gonna unpack this just a little bit, because boy, you said a lot. So my last retail stop, I worked for a very professional company that I was very proud to represent for a few years. The name was Kronheim's Furniture. Some yahoos got a hold of the name in the last few years that didn't do it justice. But that's Sumo. That's my cat. His name is Pepper, and he wants attention.
Oh.
So I thought every store, Kristina, was like Kronheim's Furniture. Now, we were the very first in the Cleveland area to have a Broyhill gallery, a Stratford gallery. We were the first to systematically use radio, TV, and full color 8 to 12 page circulars every month on a regular basis. So, Kronheim's Furniture was a machine. It was an advertising machine. It was the most beautiful displayed showroom in all of Cleveland. It was a chain of stores. And I had in my little pea brain, Kristina, that every store, now that I'm a Serta rep, is going to be just like Kronheim's Furniture. So I've got my list. I've got my accounts. I had done a little bit of homework, and they all look like pretty normal stores. The very first store I walked into was a house. And in that house, there were 2 bedrooms, spare bedrooms, that were empty. And they had 3 mattresses in each room. And that's all you could fit in there.
Yeah.
So a total of 6 SKUs in a house. And it said Middlebury Furniture, Middlebury Mattress. I can't remember. It was in Amish country in Indiana. And I got to tell you, it kind of threw me for a loop. This is like not, I expected Kronheim's Furniture, and, and it wasn't. Right. And so, probably one of the first things you learned when you first got in the business over 10 years ago, Kristina, is get the plastic off the mattresses, right? No, we still have dealers, that up to a couple of years ago, Gent had plastic on his mattresses. I couldn't get him to take the plastic off his mattresses. He finally took them off when he became a bed gear rep. So they told him, and then it made sense to him. I'm just having a little fun, Greg. I love you, brother.
That's great. Yeah. I was in retail. I've been in the business 26 years. And so I was in retail for most of that. And so the last couple of years I've been doing the manufacturer side, and it's a game changer. But the one thing I learned on the manufacturer side is that I want to be the rep that I needed when I was in the stores. So selling retail and you have a question and you pick up the phone and call your rep and you don't hear back from them, for a week or two. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the person that picks up the phone and helps you close that deal. And that's what we should be doing as reps. We should be helping build our retail partners. We should be building with them because it's a win-win. And so when we're helping them achieve better sales, closing sales, helping merchandise stores, there's so many tools that we as reps can bring to the table that aren't being utilized by a lot of our retailers. And gaining those friendships. I've noticed that you can ask Tattoo Tim, one of the biggest things for me is building a relationship with my retailers so that I can help them grow. Because if I'm with them on a different level, not just I walk into your store and, okay, this SKU is not doing great, blah, 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 walk out, and then you don't see me for another 2 months. That doesn't work. So building relationships with my retailers, even if I'm not able to get into those stores, because I have a lot of territory, but even if I'm not able to get into those stores every single month, I know my retailers. I know the pulse of what's going on in the industry, and I can help by answering a few questions or walking into your store, giving more than just put more of my SKUs on the floor. We want to help you build. So it's a tool. We're a tool in the toolbox that a lot of retailers are not utilizing right now, especially with all of the changes that are going on in the industry. And I think it's a really important portion of the market that isn't being utilized to its full extent. It's our knowledge. And then we're your eyes and ears out in the market. We're in all these different stores, from, like you were saying, Pete, that little house with the 6 SKUs to a store that has 85, 100 SKUs on the floor. So we can tell you what's working. We can help introduce you to people that can help grow with your marketing. It's not always easy to reach the customer. Like, ultimately, that's what we want to do, is reach that customer and get them into those retail stores. So we might see things or have some tools that can help you attain that aren't being tapped into.
I want to read this. So Krista Haney says, the easiest way that a retailer can significantly boost the value for wholesale price paid is to encourage and even mandate their sales team to make proactive contact with their vendor reps at the most practical frequency they can. Sitting around waiting for ups instead of education and development does nothing for the customer. Wow,
Amen.
that is so good. And Chris, thank you for that comment. And I know, even though me and you haven't talked because we're both as busy as can be, I know that there must have been a conversation or two with Kristina in those dark days that I had to endure when I said, you should come on this show, until she comes back and says, yes. I'm sure there were some conversations between you two, but
Haney beat me up. Let me just tell you, that guy, no, he's like,
hey, listen,
you gotta call Pete.
It's like the E.F. Hutton commercial, right? People listen. When Chris talks, you should listen. Royal Bateman, ask her about her fantasy football draft strategy. Pray tell.
No strategies. And Royal, I'm not going to give away my secrets, buddy. I'm like,
all right, Royal, we'll talk about that after the show, brother. You said something that's so important. There's this dance that happens in any sale. And when you bring the rep onto your side of the table as a store owner, you've just increased the amount of leverage that you have. Mm-hmm. Because with me, you're getting 43 years. With Kristina, you're getting 26 years. And those years may not be equal. And just so that everybody's really clear on what I'm saying, her 26 years might be insanely more valuable than my 43, or vice versa. It doesn't
I
matter.
know that's
You
not
have
true.
what you have. And here's the thing with, if I'm a store owner, knowing everything that I know, I will tell you this. My best store owners that I have the best relationships with more than came across the table. They wanted a relationship and they made it, no
Right.
bones about it. Joey Amato,
Right.
Scott Vaughn, Jeff Giannakovo, those are my best guys. Chris Nelson coming up really quickly. You know, these are guys who wanted a relationship and went out of their way to pursue one with me. So what do you think happens to me as a human being and also as a rep when somebody's making that kind of an effort to reach across the table? I'm going to give you everything I got and then
Amen.
some. Everything I got and then some. And you know what? There is no weekend. There is no, oh, it's after 6 o'clock. I can't talk to you. There's none of that. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
One of the things I've said for years, I'm like a baby doctor. You can call me anytime, day or night. If you're calling me, I know it's important.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
one of the things, I interviewed a rep once and I said, you know, what makes you different from other reps? He goes, I answer my damn phone. And I said,
It's not
wow,
easy.
that is sad and true at the same time. And Kristina, I was the worst interview in the world. So I was in retail for 7 years and I started interviewing. It took me 2 more years to get my first job offer. And I had 2 at the same time. And I went with the right one for me. And I remember saying this prayer: Father in heaven, if you ever give me the privilege of being a rep, I promise you that I will always answer my phone and I will return my phone calls and I will be that rep, exactly what you said, word for word, that I never had.
Yep.
But that's not really true for me. I had some really, really great reps, just a few, and most of the reps sucked. And I wish it was different. I wish it was different today, but there's a lot of reps out there. And unfortunately, I'm not ragging on reps. I love my brothers and sisters that are reps. I just want you to hear this.
Yeah.
The most common complaint I get about my competitors is they don't answer their phone. Do you know how many times I've gotten a new customer because I answer my phone and you don't?
Yeah.
Do you know how many sales you've lost to me over the years? Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Not trying to be cocky. Want to get back to this thing that we were talking about.
I think that's important to talk about too, because I was on the retail side and so I understand. And I also think that there is a point in which we need as retailers, and I say we because I'm still sometimes in that mindset, but as retailers holding the reps accountable, not like you didn't do this or you didn't do that, but like, hey, this is our system. You need to be in the stores once a month. We need to do a training, or calling your rep and saying, hey, I've got this going on. I need you here. Can you be here this day? And so holding reps accountable. All too often I hear that reps haven't been seen in 4, 5, 6 months, which to me is unbelievable. You know, they haven't talked on the phone. They haven't reached out. They haven't been in the stores. So I have some amazing retailers that if I haven't reached out in the last couple of weeks, I'm on the phone with, you know, they're calling me and, hey, what's going on? Whether we're talking business or just touching base with that relationship. Mandy at American Mattress, Tim in Albany, Steven Stone at Bedmar. You know, I'm talking to people constantly, and just keeping those relationships intact. And those are all people that hold me accountable as well. So those relationships to where there's that mutual respect and mutual accountability, I want to say, are so important in this industry, because we're all here to grow and we're all here to help people sleep better. and to live better lives. And so when we're all on that same train of thought, that mutually beneficial relationship just grows and grows and grows, from the manufacturer to the retailer to ultimately the consumer. And that's what we're all here for, is to make the consumer's life easier. So my job is to make the retailer's life easier and better. And then the retailer's job is to make the consumer's life easier and better. And so we need each other. And that's where that comes in, of utilizing your rep so that your life is easier and ultimately you're making your customer's life better. That's what it's all about.
So let's just dive into this perspective thing a little bit more. So I call on just me, specifically calling on accounts, probably 50 to 60 accounts, and my sales team calls on the rest, which is a total of about 300. So it's super important that you as a store owner understand that we are in a lot of stores.
Mm-hmm.
We see a lot of things. We see good, we see bad, we see best practices, we see worst practices.
Yeah.
It's super important that you take advantage of our experience, because it'll help you avoid a mistake. I'm going to tell you a true story without the name. And this gentleman has passed, but he loved me forever because I saved him millions of dollars. How did I save him millions of dollars? We got to a point where we had such a tight friendship, Kristina, that whenever they were thinking about making a move, they would bring me in, and we would talk about the move. And they were going to buy this extraordinary, massive warehouse. And I said, everything sounds good. Did you check it for asbestos?
Oh, yeah.
Asbestos. He goes, no, what's that? And it was riddled with asbestos. And that's why it would have literally cost more money than to clean it, to make it compliant with the new regulations, than the price of the building. And it was no longer a good deal. And because I pointed that out, Nick Marcos, my partner, my business partner, he is also a landlord. His father worked extremely hard. He was a first generation immigrant from Greece, and his father accumulated some buildings during his time, and he did it the hard way. He was a barber and he owned a bar, and so one drink and one haircut at a time to becoming a millionaire. And you want to talk about an inspirational man, inspirational story. But Nick has always been able to give great advice on leases, because Nick is a landlord. And I love listening to these conversations that he's had with these dealers, where he has kind of become the go-to guy. And listen, there's two go-to guys right now, and I'll tell you their names. One you were with yesterday, Justin Trumbo.
Yeah.
He is the master of leases, along with Jeff Janakovo. They are both excellent, and both are an open book and will help you read a lease. But that was just a skill set that Nick had. Other reps didn't have it. I certainly didn't have it early in my career. Now I do, but I do because of knowing Jeff so well, becoming friends with Justin, and spending hours on the phone with both of those guys, and of course, Nick. So there's areas of expertise. When you work a retail floor and you learn how to close difficult customers, whether it was yesterday or 20 years ago or 30 or 40 years ago, that's a skill, and it requires a certain mindset.
Yeah.
And not taking advantage of your rep. Now, there are some reps that I wouldn't let touch my customers. my retail salespeople. I wouldn't let them, and I wouldn't let them work my floor either. So
Yeah.
I regularly work floors so that I can see just how tough the sledding is these
Yeah.
days. And I'll tell you,
Yeah.
the customers are tougher today than they were in the 1980s when I was doing this. I will give you that. Gordon, oh, you are rarefied air, Gordon.
Hey,
Heck,
Gordon.
I love Gordon. This is one of those guys who is truly elite, right? Gordon Hecht says the job of a rep is not to get a mattress placed on the sales floor. Our job is to place beds that will turn 20 plus times per year. We gain that by bringing training, display, marketing, incentives, and monitoring inventory levels. Retailers that listen to their reps and take the needed actions will win every time. Wow.
Every time.
Amen. Amen. Jacksonville Bedin. Is this RJ or is this?
Yeah, I'm wondering.
This is RJ. I don't work with Kristina directly, but have many friends in the industry who do, and I can tell you that they all sing her praises. I have never heard anything other than the highest praises for Kristina, so I'm jumping on that bandwagon too. Kristina, voice to text got me.
No worries, RJ. No worries. Just don't call me late for dinner. Anything else is fine.
So that is why you should take advantage of our knowledge. And, Gordon really said it very, very succinctly, but I want to dive into that a little bit more. The reps that are really in tune with the better retailers can bring you ideas quicker than anybody else. And, when I started, there was no such thing as a buying group. The buying groups, for the most part, do a very nice job. But do you want to get it faster than the buying group? Go with the rep first. Right. And then do everything you can with the buying group. As a matter of fact, I have some store owners that love me forever because I encouraged them to get into a buying group. And the reason was they weren't listening to me. Yeah. And I'm like, maybe somebody else can get to them. And maybe, the same message again and again from different people will eventually get there, because there is no secrets in our industry. There are no secrets. You have to advertise better than your competitors. You have to display better than your competitors. You have to out merchandise your competitors. You have to out train. And this is where you all fall down. It's where you all fall down. And your reps will train for free. So why you don't take advantage of that is beyond me. So
yeah, we're product experts. And not just our own products, but like I have to know what else is going on out there so that I can sell my products better. And then taking that information and rolling it into a retailer store and letting the RSAs know, like, hey, you need to not just know your stuff here in the store. We're going to help you. I'm going to help you be the expert on King Koil products, but know how to sell those against TSI, know how to sell Serta. Like if you have to know the other products as well so that you can present your products better. And where I try to take that when I'm in a store is are you shopping your competitor? So many of our retailers now are not shopping their competitors, and they kind of live in a bubble. And so my job as a rep can also be to come in and pop that bubble and say, hey, you're getting too comfortable. We need to shift this way, or we need to look at this, and we need to pivot here. I think that's something that reps can really help with, is when things aren't working, we can help you pivot in a really quick way. So a lot of times we'll see retailers that let dead SKUs live on their floor way too long. And a lot of the time it's because they're comfortable and they're in that bubble. So I'm going to bring that needle and I'm going to pop that bubble, and I'm going to bring data and I'm going to say, okay, this isn't working. I can show you what's selling here in my store. Let's pull up some records. What else is selling? What SKUs do you have on your floor? This isn't working. Also bringing something in with a story and helping the RSAs tell that story, because we're not just selling a product. This is something I when I'm training, I share with RSAs and store owners. We sell, and we're blessed and lucky to sell the most intimate product a person can bring into their home, which is their bed. So you start your day in bed, saying your prayers, getting ready to go out and hit the day. And you start that in your bed, and then you end your day in your bed, whether it's cuddling with your partner and discussing your day and closing out your day, and then, saying prayers at the end of the night and getting your rest, and then your body heals through sleep. So much happens. And so everything is surrounding our bed. We spend a third of our lives in bed. We need to be portraying that to the RSA, and then ultimately to the consumer, and know that we care. One of the people that I admire most taught me that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And I think that spreads from us to the buyer, to the RSA, to the consumer. We can know a ton, but until we're picking up our phones and we care about people, and we care about how their business is doing, and we care about everything from start to finish, that's where we're all going to win.
That's awesome. Tim McDonald says yes. The game, Andy Anderson, ditto to RJ.
Hey, Andy.
The game has really changed. Say that again. It's all about empathy and caring. Yeah, it 100% is, Andy. And telling them your why sometimes is the best thing that you can do. And we lose more sales because we try to stay neutral than we do being ourselves. Unless there's something super wrong with you, just being yourself is one of the best ways to be super attractive and to literally magnetize people towards you. They want to buy from you because they know and they feel that you're a good human being and that you have separated yourself from other salespeople. And so, one of the things that, because of communication styles, well, I'm going to tell you guys a crazy story. You're not going to even believe this one, Kristina. Not going to believe this one. So this is between marriages. I'm single, and there's a super attractive girl that I need to train at one of my key retailers. And she asked me a lot of questions, and I make it a point to just give her like 10-minute nuggets every week, once a week. And I do this for months on end, and like her sales went sky high and crazy. And here's the craziest thing. The best job that I ever had, I did good in the interview, but they checked my work. One of the people they called was her.
Ah, fantastic.
She got me that job. And it was because I just paid attention. And there was this period of time where I'm digging, because I know from being in retail for so long that you have to feel like you deserve the sale.
Yeah.
Well, there was some trauma early in her life. She had never gotten help for it. She had never been able to face it. And we went into it. And she says, "You're not just a mattress salesperson, you're a therapist too, Pete." I'm not a therapist, and I don't play one on TV. I'm not a therapist, but God used me in a very powerful way in her life.
Yeah.
And then God used her in a very powerful way in my life. And you can't make this stuff up.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
all of that to just say this, I might be able to have an emotional connection to your salesperson that you could never in a million years get. It's not because I'm Superman. It's because of the tyranny of the familiar. The tyranny of the familiar. You see her or him every day, and you're just Joe the boss. Well, I'm not. I'm a stranger, and I get treated differently. And unfortunately, everything I say is amplified. And a lot of times, I will say to an owner, and all my store owners that are listening, I will say this before a sales meeting. What have you been trying to get through to your salespeople that they haven't gotten and they haven't started to do that you want me to say? Because you know, when I say it, it carries more weight than when you say it, because you say it every day.
Yeah.
And it's so true, right? And so we can go places that you may not be able to go. And I know that might be really uncomfortable for some people thinking about how that'll happen. Listen, it's one of the reasons I love this business. It's not just selling mattresses and helping retailers to be more profitable. It's about changing lives, right?
Yeah.
Because her whole life changed. She didn't just start selling more mattresses. She got married. She started to have success in all areas of her life. All right. Is this you, RJ? I think it's RJ at Jacksonville Bedding. In sales, authenticity isn't just a nice to have. It's a difference between a customer and a lifelong client. Yes. People don't buy products. They buy people they believe in. Amen, brother. And if this is you, Tara, amen, sister.
One of the things that I pride me on, and then you can ask any of my friends or anybody that knows me, is this is me. What you see is what you get. I love to joke around. I'm very, and I think that if I was to be anything else, people would see through it. And you know, as salespeople, I think we have a little bit better BS meters than a lot of other folks out there, because we've seen it all and we've encountered it all. So being anything less than authentic, I think that's a waste of everybody's time. So
amen. And so one of the things that I think about, super blessed, you know, I remember Bob Sherman being in the car with me, and he goes, Pete, do you realize you're probably the last sort of rep that I will ever ride in a car with? And I said, yeah, I mean, we're starting to get too many factories. We had 3 factories at that point, and they went on to buy a bunch more. And I've always been very thankful for the guys and the gals that poured into me. And I'm going to name a few stores who were really huge players in my development. Jack and John Schultz at JV Schultz. John and Blaze Frado. Wayside Furniture. The reason I'm starting to cry is because Blaze is gone. The guys at Furniture Fair, the guys at Big Sandy's, you know, you guys took a young, probably hyperactive sales rep and sat him down and taught him the business, taught me how to be a rep and how to really hit the next level. Without you guys, what I become never would have happened. So thank you. Sorry.
no, don't be sorry. That's awesome. That's awesome. I have I've been very blessed since I came into the manufacturing side a couple years ago, that I've had, for what started off as customers first, have turned into relationships that have helped me grow tremendously. I have Ryan Bailey and Steven Stone and Justin Trumbo that I'm around all the time, Tim McDonald, just people that help me grow on a daily basis. And I think if we're not tuning into those relationships and surrounding ourselves with these incredible people, we have so many incredible people in this industry. Greg Gent's a phone call away. I talk to Steve all the time. It's just, it's not always about business either. Just picking up the phone and talking to these amazing resources. Once again, going back to what we're here for today is talking into and tuning into the resources that we have and finding resources in one another. I think that is the most important thing is I'm going to have knowledge that so-and-so might not have. And there's a hell of a lot of knowledge out there that I get to tune into. Last week I got to travel with David Binky and it was so amazing just to hear his point of view on things. And he's not a man of many words, but when he speaks, I listen because there's so much knowledge there. And so it's so important to tune into those things and realize that we have not just resources in digital marketing and resources and getting more SKUs on the floor, but the relationships that we have with people and the knowledge that we're gaining from others around us. Pete, just sitting down and talking with people at market and exchanging a 10-minute conversation with Pete, my gosh, you'll get a lot out of that. And you just anytime anybody's around you, Pete, you walk away with a smile. How could you not? You're just so awesome.
Oh, Lord. So let's talk about Wayne Gretzky.
Okay.
Wayne Gretzky, one of the greatest all-time hockey players, one of the greatest scorers in the game. And they asked him what his secret was and of getting to the puck. And he goes, I don't go to the puck. I go to where the puck is going. And that is the single biggest thing that you all are missing with your reps. We will see, before you ever read it in Furniture Today, God bless them, Sheila and the whole gang, they do a great job over there. You have to have relationships with your reps for one overriding huge reason, because you will be able to see the trends. Where is that puck going? Justin Trumbo, he was importing split head beds 7 years ago.
We were just
7 years ago.
This. Yeah,
everybody thought he was crazy. And guess what? BIA started making American-made split head beds 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago. And you guys at King Koil are taking it to a whole nother level. And you guys are all in and have been all in for some time now. So, and it's not just split heads. It's the reemergence of two-sided and not missing an opportunity to offer the things that customers want and being the first to market. If you can be the first to market, if a big dumb store doesn't carry split heads, that isn't like permission for you not to. That means that you should. You should stake out that ground. You should put your flag on it and you should say, this is mine and I'm going to advertise it. I'm going to display it. I'm going to merchandise it. I'm going to train it. And we're going to have an advantage over I remember Jeff Janakovo looking at me like about 3 years ago. Well, Pete, unless it's two-sided or it's a split head, I'm not putting it on the floor. And I looked at him and I said, smart man. So
Yeah, we have
trend.
retailers. The thing I love about King Koil, and I'm not partial at all, you guys, on King Koil, but no, all of our lines are so distinct and they all tell a story. And so by bringing um, a story, whether it's a King Koil product or whatever, to grow your store, bringing in a story and something that um, that translates to the customer, whether that's sustainability, that dual flex split head that you're talking about, Pete, and building those sleep systems, I think, are so important, and that goes back into utilizing your reps, right? We all work together, and so we telling that story to the customer and having that different story, and then us going in and teaching the RSAs how to tell that story to where it matters to the customer. I think that ultimately that's the most important part, is why does this matter in the sales process, and why does this matter to the customer? And that's where your rep can come in and help tell that story, so that the RSA can tell the story better. So having amazing products on the floor doesn't hurt, for sure, but ultimately being able to translate that into why it matters to the customer, whether that's selling luxury, selling something sustainable, selling something natural, having the dual flex option, having options for the customer is so important. And we see, like you were saying, we see those trends in the market because we're out in those stores. So utilizing us as the eyes and ears of what's going on in the marketplace is another important facet to what we do.
The other reason to talk to your reps, develop relationships with your reps, use your rep floor plans.
Amen.
Ray Iyer, who owns Healthy Z's, formerly Harrison Mattress, 2-3 years ago, she had like 11 or 12 beds on her floor, and me and her had a really good talk, and we knew that we needed to do something like right now with the floor space that she had.
Yeah.
She had a couple of ideas, and I asked her a few questions, and then I drew 3 or 4 floor plans, and I brought those to her, and we talked
Yeah.
about them. Eventually, she bought her own 10,000 square foot building, but we went from showing 11 or 12 SKUs in a very small footprint to showing, by using a twin rack, 21 beds in the same space. So use your rep for floor plans, but also you should also ask this question. If you're a store owner, ask this question of every rep: what are the best practices that you see out there when you go from store to store that I should start to implement in my business? You ask that question of 10 reps, and you'll be able to tell me who the best reps are by their answers. Because if they've got nothing to say, they're not in the game.
Yeah.
If they go on and they're frothing at the mouth because they're so excited to share this information with you, you've got one that you want to keep.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
we see the best of the best, and the reps who are awake and are worth having conversations with, they are curious beavers. Like, I know I've never traveled with Kristina, but I can tell you right now that she runs a fever before she gets into a store, because she's going to learn something new in this store, a new display, a new something. And we as reps live for that. The good ones want to not only share with you what we've learned, but just fundamentally, we're students of the game. We're in this thing to win it. We want to win, and we want you to win. And so please use us. We're a tool that you're not using as much as you should. Kristina, I'm going to give you the last word, because I stole the last few minits, and I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no worries. No worries. No worries. I just one last thing I want to say of this tool utilization, I guess, is there's times where I walk into a store and I know that one retailer has this great piece of information that can help another retailer. And then I can put those two together. It's not above me at all to call a retailer, and William Wellauer, Joshua Rigsby, Tim McDonald, Ryan Bailey. I call on my retailers and say, hey, how did you do so-and-so, or what did you do with this? And if I don't have the answer, I'm reaching out to others. Chris Haney. I mean, we've got to utilize each other. And I think, like you were giving a shout out to Mattress Industry Network, it is a blessing for retailers and reps and just the industry as a whole for us to have that platform. Greg and Steve, you guys are amazing, phenomenal. Thank you so much for everything you do for the industry. And then Pete, everything you do for the industry as well. Having people that help put us together and give us a platform to share ideas and tools and utilization topics are so important. And without that, all of us would fall flat on our face. I'm extremely blessed to have as many people around me as I do that care, and that are just amazing in this industry and just diehards. And so thank you to everybody. And if I didn't mention your name, then I'm sorry, but yeah. One last thing. I want to say thank you to Alex, my other half in life. It's so fun to come home. I watched your show, Pete, where you and your wife and, talking about how working together, but I get to come home every day and share the thing I am so passionate about, which is this industry. I get to come home and share it with him, and he has just as much excitement for it. And so, so it's pretty awesome to be able to share a life like that. And thank you for giving that a shout out last week or the week before. I don't remember when it was, but oh my goodness.
Jenny stole the show, man. And I knew that was going to happen. Everybody loves her. And, it's fun when your other half shares your passion.
Yeah.
And you can clearly see that she's all in. She is like committed. She just doesn't wear like a hat 9 to 5. It's like, she's all in. She's working at 1, 2, 3 in the morning. And of course I'm sleeping then, but I wake up early, and we're like 2 ships that pass in the night. Probably goes under the banner of too much information. But one last thing for you store owners, the game has changed. And if you don't get reviews, testimonials, and referrals, you're going to be out of business. Make sure you're asking your reps, give me your best tips on how I get reviews, how I get testimonials, how I get referrals, and how do I model those in my marketing? How do I develop displays in my store? How do I train my salespeople on it? How do I extend that into the delivery experience? So that we're all on the same page and we're all rowing in the same way. So somebody has watched this show for the first time, Kristina, and they're watching and they say, I want to call her. I have a question for her. Alex, brownie points. I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing. Gordon Heck has one comment.
Oh,
the way
Gordon.
we thank our mentors is by mentoring others. Yes, Gordon. 100%. Given our time and expected nothing in return. Pete and Kristina, I'm sorry. That's Christiana, my daughter. You both do that as well as so many others on this show. Thank you, Gordon. How do people get a hold of you, Kristina?
K Espinoza at kingkoil.com. I pick up my phone. So, and that's one thing that I will pride myself on. So 425-591-8590. You can call me anytime. That's no joke. And I love it. So I have I have Hawaii to North Dakota. So I'm in every time zone just about that you can think of. So my phone's ringing from 6 in the morning my time until 10:30, 11 o'clock Hawaii time. So I'm happy to answer my phone at any point. Give me a call. We're
Awesome.
here for each other, and we're here to support one another.
Thank you, Chris Stone, the world's greatest producer in the world, who just put that phone number up there for us. So, Kristina, thank you so much. This went so fast, but I think most store owners really underutilize their reps, and there's a lot there that they can get if they just ask and they engage. And like I said, the best store owners I know, they won't let me go without extracting some information from me that's going to be helpful to their business.
Yeah.
You know, the best store owners ask great questions, and you're not going to, get away with just quoting them some prices or doing a little bit of training, or, they want your perspective. They want to know where you see the puck going, so that they can go there too with you and beat their competitors to the punch. So thank you so much. This went by so fast. We could have done another 2 hours easy.
Oh, I love it. You're so amazing, Pete. Thank you so much for having me.
No, thank you. You were amazing. And Alex, I suppose you're going to have a great night tonight. You played all your cards properly, young man. Thank you, everybody. Go forth and sell 1 million.